If you're a working woman, whether you're an entrepreneur or a C-suite executive or doing your own thing, this mindgasm is for you. One of my clients asked me, how do I bring more pleasure into my business, my content creation, my marketing? And I love this question because oftentimes people think, how can I be more successful? How can I be more productive? How can I hit my goals? And this will answer how you can do all those things by feeling absolutely delicious and taking care of all of your needs. Listen in. Hello, beauties. So excited to leave you this mindgasm this morning on pleasure. And as I'm sitting here, I actually need to move over because I just fed my mom's dog and there's a lot of pleasure happening by the dog food dish. A lot of snorts and happiness of a little being that is eating a yummy breakfast. And the question was, what are the pleasure practices that I do, or how do I bring pleasure into my business, into my marketing, into my content creation, into the tasks that I do for work? And I love this question because it reminded me, like, yeah, I do so many things. And the reason why it reminded me is because it's such a intrinsic part of how I do business that I almost forgot. Like when I heard that question, I was like, do I do any pleasure practices? And then I was just like, oh yeah, everything is a pleasure practice. Everything I do is a pleasure practice. And I'm saying this because a really important part of what I teach my clients and what I want you to understand is it's not necessarily about doing something. It's not necessarily about adding a practice or doing a ritual or making sure that you do something. I know that a lot of the women that I work with are busy or have a lot on their plates or carry a lot of mental load. And one of the things that I hear from women is, I'm too busy, I'm so busy, or oh my God, I just adding one more thing to my to-do list, like I just can't. And my response to that is, oh my God, perfect, right? Like, because why would anybody necessarily want to add something more to do, especially if you don't want to? And simultaneously, how can you have the experiences that you want and feel the way that you want to feel? And just let it be like as easy and simple and accessible as possible. So my first annoying answer to this question is there's actually a million different practices that you could do. And in fact, I have an entire program, right? My Turn on Your Virginius 21-day pleasure journey is literally 21 days of really simple, quick pleasure practices that you do one a day, or you learn the ones that you like and you do those. And it would be sort of overwhelming if I shared like all of them at once, but I'm happy to share how I do things or some of the things that I do with you guys right now. But I want to start before I share one of these practices. First of all, like I said, there's so many that you can do. And it's really about you tapping in and finding like what works best for you. And I know for me, for a long time, I used to put pressure on myself, right? I'd see all these spiritual women on social media sitting in front of their like perfect altars and wearing their like beautiful goddess dresses and doing all like rituals and magic and tarot pulls and embodiment practices and all this stuff. And it felt like for a long time I had to do those things, right? In order to be spiritual, or in order to have healing, or in order to feel or be who I wanted to be. And I just want to first give you permission that you don't have to do all those things, or you don't have to do all those things every day, or just the understanding that the reason for doing any of these things is about feeling good or feeling how you want to feel. And that's something that's really big in my client work too, is getting super clear on how you want to feel and then doing things that give you access to those feelings and removing the things that are blocking you from feeling those feelings. So this isn't about doing a practice every day or having to stick to a routine or anything like that. If that's not your vibe, and if that's actually going to add more pressure, or if you're not feeling or tapping into the experience that you want, that's a sign for you that, oh, maybe I should try something else, or maybe the way that I can approach it can be lighter or different, or maybe I don't have to do it every day at 5 o'clock in the morning or before I go to bed at night. Like, total permission, total freedom to do it your way and to do it in the way that feels right and true for you. Because I can give anyone a ritual or a practice to do. And if you're not in the right headspace, and if you are in your brain being like, is this working, or I'm not good enough, or, or if you have a million other things going on and you can't shut off your brain and you can't give it the attention and you're just like, oh, let me just get this over with. It doesn't matter if you're doing the practice or the ritual, right? So it's all about setting up everything in your life, everything to work for you, so that when you do these things, when you bring these things in, it allows you to have the experience. And that's really all that it is. Like, rituals are these moments, these intentional moments, or these intentional actions that we take that bring us from one energy, which is like a regular, everyday kind of vanilla sort of like life, into a sacred space or into a pleasure space. Like some people that go to church and they do the holy water and they make the cross. That's a ritual of entering sacred space for them, right? So just as an example. So for me, the pleasure practices that I do are really based on somatics, and soma is the body. I'm a somatic therapist. And so there's so much about feeling. So if you're going to ask me about pleasure practices, for me, it's less about journaling and more about being in my body. So that's why you might have seen videos of me online doing dance practices or movement practices. Like, I love to put on a song and just really let my body move however it wants to move, and dance however it wants to dance, and not necessarily like, am I dancing good? Am I looking pretty? Like, nothing like that, right? Like, just letting my body get into whatever it needs to, letting the energy move in my body, feeling everything come alive and on board. Because the thing about pleasure is it's about, or being in our feminine, right? I know this is something that's coming up in our conversations already, is it's about getting into our senses, right? You hear the word sensuality, and that's all about being in our senses. That's it. It sounds like such like an exotic word, like, oh, I must have to be some kind of ethereal being. Like, no, being sensual means that you're waking up your senses. So the practice that I'm going to share with you, it's a grounding pleasure practice. And I'll share an image. I'll write it out for you, excuse me, in the comment below. So step one is that you sit outdoors or you're facing a window and get yourself comfortable, right? Step two is you close your eyes, you focus on your breathing until you feel calm or until you feel like connected to your body. So there could be thoughts, there could be lots of energy in you, and that's totally fine. Step three is that you open your eyes and you notice 5 things that you can see. Just notice them. Step 4 is that you notice 4 things that you can hear. So you listen. Step 5 is now you notice 3 things that you can feel. Maybe it's your clothes, maybe it's your butt on the floor, maybe it's your hair on your face, whatever it is. Step 6 is notice 2 things that you can smell. And step 7 is notice 1 thing that you can taste. And as you do this practice, you're going to just pay attention to how your body comes alive and how you become present in the moment and connected to yourself. And maybe you notice a quiet, or that things slow down, or that you feel more grounded or connected. Or maybe something else you notice, right? You can't do it wrong. It can't do it wrong. But for me, I think it's so important when it comes to bringing pleasure into my life. What it means is being able to check in to see how I'm feeling and to give myself the opportunity to feel however I want to feel and to do whatever I want or need in that moment to allow myself to feel as good as I want to feel. And so that can be not doing something that I'm pressuring myself to do. That can be getting up out of my chair and moving my body, stretching. That can just be about the decision in my brain to drop any pressure or limiting thoughts or beliefs. Maybe it's to go talk to a friend, somebody that sees me and supports me. And I see that this mindgasm is crossing the 10-minute mark. All that to say that I could keep going, right? There's so many amazing practices out there. And I'd love it if you shared what came up for you during listening to this mindgasm. If you need help coming up with a pleasure practice for you, let me know. I have just like a bank, so many of them. My clients know. It's like, I just don't want to overwhelm you with like, you could do this and you could do that, right? But it's really about like this whole journey, this whole experience is about not only learning what is best for you and feels best for you, but giving yourself the full permission to bring it into your life and to prioritize that. So on that note, I'm gonna go do my workout, and I'll hear from you guys soon. Okay, so if you listen to this mindgasm and you were like, yes, finally an answer that I can work with and that helps me move forward, then I want you to shoot me a DM right now on Instagram at Michelle Kanan, that's my name, and let me know. You know, we often think our problems are so big or so unique, but after over 12 years of mentoring and coaching hundreds of amazing women, I have a lot of really simple tools, mindset shifts, and incredible rituals and guidance to give women like you that want to keep moving forward. So let's have an awesome conversation. Relationships are so important to me. And when you shoot me a message, I'm going to give you a free gift too. Yeah. So find me on Instagram, Michelle Kanan. And I'm also on Facebook, Michelle Kanan as well. And I'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned for more.